Your Name is a juggernaut of a movie. It premiered at Anime Expo last year in 2016. It then went on to premiere in Japan, where it ended up making boatloads of money. Currently, Your Name has grossed $328 million worldwide, making it the 4th highest grossing movie in Japan, the 8th biggest traditionally animated movie, and the number 1 highest grossing anime of all time, beating out Miyazaki's Spirited Away to become king of the anime box office results. The reviews for the movie have been very good as well. Not only does it have a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it also currently sits as the number 1 highest rated anime on my anime list. A day has passed since I've seen the movie, and this is what I thought. This movie was really good. By no means a masterpiece, but still really, really good. The main reason I think the movie is doing so well is that the first half of the movie is played like a romantic comedy, but then the twist happens, and the movie completely changes tones. The twist happened at just the right time, when the audience had become attached to the characters, and when the characters themselves were just getting used to switching bodies. A major conflict does not arise until about halfway through the movie. The great thing about this twist is that it doesn't feel forced. I think the main reason why is because of the way the film was edited. There are lots of places Shinkai decides to skip over. For example, the initial reactions of the lead switching bodies was shown, but the movie then skips over to the next day. The audience needs to infer what happened and put together the pieces. Some of the scenes shown at the beginning were from later in the movie as well. There was a constant feeling that the director was keeping out important information and only showing us what he wanted us to see. So when the twist finally does come, it doesn't feel out of left field, but rather like it was a missing piece to the puzzle that the director was deliberately keeping from us. Like I said earlier, Your Name has a lot of jokes to keep you laughing. The boob touching gag was something that I was a bit worried about. I didn't want my friend going into this movie knowing nothing, and then the first thing he sees is that. It makes sense though, because it's something that any guy would do if trapped in a woman's body, and the joke is built up beautifully. After setting up some ground rules, Taki hesitates to touch them out of respect, and this was a great way to show the progression of his character. But then, when Taki needs to switch with Mitsuha to save her town, and he finally wakes up back in her body and is overcome with emotion that he is crying while touching her boobs. And this was a perfect way to relieve all the tension the narrative had been building up to that point. I should give a big shout out to the voice acting and animation. When Taki and Mitsuha are inhabiting each other's bodies, their voice actors change their voices to be either more masculine or feminine. Also, along with the voice acting, the animation of the characters also changes depending if their bodies are swapped or not. These changes are noticeable, but still subtle enough not to become distracting. It was neat that they went into that much detail, even though it's obvious that any animator or voiceover artist worth their weight would do that. One common complaint about the movie that I keep hearing is that the main characters developed romantic feelings for one another too quickly, that there wasn't enough shown to indicate the two were beginning to have feelings for one another. But I don't agree. There isn't some obvious transition to their feelings of love, it's much more subtle than that. Taki and Mitsuha, as they inhabit each other's body day after day, slowly become half of the other. They don't love each other because of various random romantic experiences, but rather because without each other, they feel like something is missing from their life. This brings us to the movie's ending. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time because I needed the leads to hook up at the end for my own sanity. I was genuinely fearful that Taki and Mitsuha would never meet each other again. One of the things I said to my friend once the movie ended was that we should have watched 5 centimeters per second the night before. That movie had a very similar ending to Your Name. At the end of that movie, the leads do not end up seeing each other again, so I was terrified that a similar thing would happen in this movie. As I've mentioned multiple times, my friend who isn't into anime also watched this movie with me, and I was interested in what he thought after the movie finished. And he thought the movie was really good, and mentioned that he wants to see it again dubbed to see the difference and compare the two versions. There were two aspects to the movie, however, that he did not like or felt were a little out of place to him. First was the musical montages. He felt that a lot of the time they just came out of nowhere. But I honestly love most of the montages, but I will agree that the transition to the movie's opening was a bit jarring. It took me a few seconds to realize it was an opening credits scene and not just a song playing at the beginning of the movie. My friend's other complaint was that the characters often groaned or made little noises through the film. I think that was just a consequence of the voices being super clear, and that many important scenes were void of any music or sound effects for a dramatic effect. The voices were pronounced, and every little noise the voice actor makes comes through as clear as day. This was just a little distracting to my friend. One thing my friend complimented was how well the CGI was implemented. He mentions that he couldn't tell any of the movie was computer generated, but he knew that some of the scenes were because of how the camera was moving. So yeah, overall, he loved Your Name. And Your Name is a great movie, deserving of all the hype. See it while you can in theaters. I know I will try to see it again before it leaves. Overall, I would give Your Name an 8 out of 10. But a very high 8 that, if time is kind to, may turn into a 9. So what did you guys think of Your Name? Tell me what you thought in the comment section below. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Also check out my last video reviewing Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic, the mobile port of Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.